this is the LTT screwdriver and this is the iFixit toolkit. One is an influencer product and the other is a product promoted by influencers. And now there's only room for one of them on my desk. So which one will make the cut? So I actually bought the iFixit toolkit 5 years ago after Linus promoted it on his channel, and now he's going after his own sponsor to make his own version of the product. The sponsee is now taking on the sponsor. Now the question is, did Linus just copy iFixit's homework or take inspiration from it and turn it into a product of his own? And priced at around $10 more, there's always this thought, am I just paying a premium to buy from Linus? Is buying the LTT screwdriver the equivalent of buying merch? Now to keep this video as unbiased as possible, I bought both of these products with my hard-earned money and I'm not affiliated with either company, so let's jump in. So the specific models we have here are the LTT Precision Multi-Bit Screwdriver and Bit Set, and this costs $49.99. And we have the iFixit Mako Driver Kit. This is $39.95. It's about 25% more to get the LTT Precision Screwdriver. So we'll see if that's the influencer premium or cold hard improvements. And to clarify, this is not the LTT ratcheting screwdriver or the stubby screwdriver. It looks like it's meant to compete squarely with iFixit's precision kit. So when you look at both kits, you'll instantly notice a few differences. The LTT screwdriver has 60 bits when compared to the 64-bit in the iFixit. So you get less bits, but you pay more. And the iFixit kit comes with this bendable attachment for screwing some tight, uncomfortable spaces, and Linus does not. At face value, it doesn't look good for Linus. The cases themselves are a bit different. The iFixit kit is substantially larger. It's about 3/4 inch or 19 millimeters wider and about 1 inch or 25 millimeters longer. And as we all know, size matters. And in this case, I prefer the smaller size as it takes less desk space. The LTT case is a bit thicker, but only by 1 millimeter or 2, making Linus's case shorter and stubbier, just like his hands. Just kidding, Linus. And even though it's smaller, the LTT case does feel heavier and denser. After weighing them though, they're nearly the same. But considering how much smaller the LTT Precision Kit is, with less bits too, I wonder where all that extra weight is coming from. And after further inspection, the LTT case does have much thicker plastic than the iFixit, along with some other features that we'll talk about later. It almost feels like a Pelican case, whereas iFixit feels lighter and more flimsy. I've never felt like my iFixit case was breakable, but the LTT case does feel extra rugged. On the last note of the exterior, the LTT case has a nicer finish than the iFixit, which is a little more grainy, but the LTT is smooth. That being said, both cases got scratches from wear and tear, but neither claim to be scratch proof, so that's to be expected. They're just plastic cases. And the differences don't stop there. Upon opening the cases, you encounter the first major difference. The iFixit kit is held together with magnets. You have 4 magnets on the inside and 4 magnets on the lid and on the back of the case. This makes it easy to pop the lid on and off and attach it to the back of the case if you want to save desk space. The LTT case also has magnets too, 4 here and 4 in here, 4 in the back. But it has a new feature, a revolutionary piece of technology called a hinge. Yeah, it opens like a door. The hinge feels stable, smooth, strong, like I don't see it wearing down or breaking anytime soon. However, at first, I actually am not a fan of this hinge design because if you're working on something, you typically don't have that much desk space, so you might only have room for the lid to store your screws. But with the hinge design, you need to make room for the entire case. And that's when I learned something really cool that totally solves this problem. If you pull down on the lid and up on the bottom case, the lid pops right off. Whoa. It's super satisfying too and makes for a great fidget. I had a lot of fun with this. Maybe a little too much fun. The hinge is also held together by magnets, so when you pop it off, it connects to the lower hinge, which also has magnets, which makes a very satisfying snap noise. It almost sounds like racking a gun. Good job, Linus. Another huge difference is the top lid. This has been my favorite feature on the iFixit toolkit, and it makes projects where you have to deal with a lot of different screw sizes easier to handle. You can keep them organized and from falling off the floor, and it has to do with these little squares here. So Linus clearly took inspiration from the iFixit design and yoinked the feature to add to his as well, with a few changes. He opted for larger grids along with a single rectangular grid as well, instead with the iFixit, which has smaller slots for all of your screws. Now, I found that the bigger grids do a better job, especially with something like a keyboard, where sometimes you have a dozen of the same screw size. So instead of spilling out of its little compartment on the iFixit lid, they fit better into the grids of the LTT lid. But then I discovered something magical about the LTT lid. I set a screw down on this thing and it moved. And no, it's not possessed by Linus. This thing is magnetic. This kit has magnets everywhere, which partially explains why it's so heavy. Now, I loved this feature while building my new watch, as I didn't worry about accidentally dropping the case and spilling screws everywhere. Linus clearly iterated on the iFixit case, which is quite impressive. But is it a true innovation? And does it warrant the premium price? I'm not convinced just yet. But the case alone can only have so much of an impact. What about the screws and the bits and the stuff that actually is inside the case? The internal design of the case is eerily similar to iFixit. It looks like they used almost the exact same bits with the same foam storage, and I believe it's laser etched EVA foam, but I could be wrong here. I'm no foam expert. Linus clearly took heavy inspiration from iFixit, but hey, at least they changed the color, right? It's easy to see. Now, things do get a bit different when you look at the screwdrivers themselves. They both are metal and feel extremely high quality with a knurling for easier grip. The LTT precision screwdriver is just a little shorter and stubbier by about ½ inch. I'm noticing a trend here. The iFixit kit has a blue spinner on the back, which is nice for when you want to push down on a screw and twist with the spinner pushed against your palm. The LTT screwdriver also does this, but opted for an interesting design choice. They decided to plop in a bearing so that this thing basically never stops spinning. So you get the same functionality with a bonus of the extra fun of a fidget spinner. Now, I definitely did not annoy everyone around me with this. And while it's a lot of fun to mess with, it doesn't actually impact the functionality at all. But the biggest difference is the ability to store bits inside of this screwdriver by popping open the back. You can store up to 3 bits inside the screwdriver. If you store all of your commonly used bits in this, you almost never even need the extra bits from the case, you know, unless you encounter something strange. So you spend less time fishing out what bits you need, because if you're anything like me, you never put them back in the right spot, which sucks for the next person. Now, this is a fun fidget too. Just open and close, open and close, open and close. Ah, so satisfying. It also sort of feels like a rack and a shotgun. Pow! Pow! Okay, I'll stop. You can also spin the bit storage to find the bit that you want instead of awkwardly rotating it in your hands. Now, the iFixit does none of these things, although they do have a version that does, called the Moray driver, but it's completely made of plastic. The bits are stored in the lid or end cap of the screwdriver instead. So the idea of bit storage inside a screwdriver is nothing new. It's been done by iFixit and several other companies in the past, but in the context of this comparison, it is an upgrade. It's a win. But now, when comparing the quality of the actual bits, this is where it gets tough. I've only noticed minor amounts of wear and tear on my iFixit, which regularly got used over the course of 5 years. So I suppose in this area, they're tied. But iFixit has one major advantage, an advantage that's so big that it makes it hard to recommend the LTT screwdriver. This is an area that Linus really needs to work on if he wants to be the go-to precision kit screwdriver, and that's the entire purchasing, shipping, and delivery process that happens after you say, hey, I sort of want to buy this screwdriver, because there are 4 major jump-off points as a buyer. One is that the price is $10 more, which, considering it's a premium product, maybe you could justify the extra price. But there are other hidden costs too. 2 is that you need to go to the LTT website and enter all of your information to order this thing. Nowadays, with Amazon, people are so used to buying with one click, and this feels like a big headache, especially when iFixit is already on Amazon, ready to be bought. 3 is probably the biggest hurdle, and that's the $10 in shipping that you need to pay on top of the $10 premium. So with shipping, the price of this gets closer to $60, which is a huge increase over iFixit. And 4, to top it all off, you need to wait a week for this thing to ship from Canada versus Amazon, where it can deliver in about a day. So if you have an urgent project that needs to be worked on, it might not be worth delaying to wait for a screwdriver. And possibly number 5, the new tariffs that may or may not be coming soon to you if you live in the US. So considering everything, is Linus's product just a copycat of iFixit? I'm going to answer that using an analogy. If your friend were to copy your homework, but they slightly changed a few of the answers without telling you so that they could get an A+ instead of just an A. Clearly, Linus has iterated on the product in a lot of ways, but I wouldn't call it a big innovation. After all, if you get an A or an A+, you're probably happy either way. However, it's quite impressive that they were able to enter this market and make a product that's better in a lot of ways to an existing company. If anything, I think this shows that maybe iFixit got a little too relaxed and stopped updating their products, which is the perfect way to get got by an ambitious and sort of ruthless startup like Linus Tech Tips. So whether you think Linus copied iFixit or created an absolutely innovative product, we can all agree that this is better for you and me, people who want to buy these products and have more options. And I think Linus has found a nice place as the premium option in the precision screwdriver market. So am I getting rid of my iFixit kit in favor of the LTT screwdriver? Well, yeah. I think it's better. But if I didn't make this video, I probably wouldn't have upgraded unless my iFixit broke, which I don't think it ever will. It's basically invincible. And I recommend you do the same unless you love fidget spinners or just want to support Linus. Now, if you really like screwdrivers, there's another one that I talk in this video about cool tech that will make your life better.